Hello, I'm the Pageant Nerd. Thanks for checking out my latest video looking ahead to Miss Universe 2023 and the recent selection of a powerhouse nation's delegate. I'm going to get to a couple of viewer suggested videos in the next few weeks, but I had a number of requests for this video, so I'm fast tracking it. I hope you don't mind. The Philippines is coming off a sobering non-placement at Miss Universe 2022. Its first since 2009 after 12 consecutive semi-final results or better, which included 2 titles and another 5 top 5 finishes. Celeste Cortese, wearing the Philippines sash in New Orleans, carried high hopes into the 71st Miss Universe, but surprisingly to some, came away empty-handed. The woman she beat for the Miss Universe Philippines title in 2022 has upgraded her result from a year ago, now tasked with getting her country's fortunes back on track. Today, I'll recap how Michelle Dee booked her ticket to El Salvador, what history she's already made, and what more she'll be chasing later this year. I'll also cast a super early critical eye on Michelle's chances at Miss Universe 2023, especially now we're in the transformational leader era. Let's get started. Mabuhay! On May 13, 2023, Makati's Michelle Dee defeated a star-studded high-quality field to win the Miss Universe Philippines crown, which featured former national title holders Emmanuel Vera, third runner-up at Reina Hispano-Americana 2021, and Samantha Panlilio, who went unplaced at Miss Grand International the same year. Despite being highly favoured, both Emmanuel and Samantha missed the top 5. Just as it was at Miss Universe Philippines last year, Bohol's Pauline Amelinx was 1 place behind Michelle Dee. Pauline improved 1 spot in each of her 3 attempts at Miss Universe Philippines, and this time took the pageant's newly acquired Miss Supranational Philippines title, meaning she'll travel to Poland in July to wear the Philippine sash for the very first time. There were of course some tabulation issues on finals night, meaning the announced top 10 was declared invalid, and all top 18 contestants competed in evening gown, with the field then reduced to a top 5, reminiscent of Miss Universe 2022. That's old news now, so I'll leave it at that, and I personally don't think it had a significant impact on the final results. As some of you very astutely noted, I picked Michelle Dee to win Miss Universe Philippines 2022, when she ultimately lost out to Celeste. But I must admit, I didn't think Michelle would do it this year. And it's nothing critical of her, it was more to do with a number of external factors. Firstly, I suspected, albeit incorrectly in the end, that Miss Universe Philippines would look for a brand new queen, given the outcome of Celeste at Miss Universe. I thought Michelle might unfairly be seen to represent what wasn't working last year. And with such an incredibly strong field featuring some knockout new contenders, I thought a fresh face was going to be selected for Miss Universe. So who did I think would take the top crown? My money was on Miss Baguio Krishna Gravides. To me, she looked Miss Universe ready, and her evening gown performance was a real showstopper. In the end, she was awarded another new title for the pageant, Miss Charm Philippines, and will compete in the Vietnamese-owned pageant early next year. That's not to take away from Michelle's performance, especially after she overcame a health scare during the pageant lead-up, undergoing emergency surgery for a hemorrhage. She remains an absolute favourite of mine, and I thought she showed bravery on stage too, including her incredibly classy yet understated evening gown. As I said, I just felt she might be overlooked in favour of a new contender, or even Pauline Amelinx, who swept so many of the pre-pageant special awards. And great to see Michelle proudly announce herself as part of the LGBTQ community in a magazine feature shortly after her crowning. I must say, watching the swimsuit and evening gown competitions on finals night and the quality of delegates overall, it really did remind me of some previous Miss Venezuela pageants, where contestant after contestant was of international standard. Hats off to Shamsi, Jonas and team for preparing such an impressive batch. Here's hoping they acquire more franchises in future, so more of their queens get a chance to compete internationally. Although I'm curious to know the reactions of the owners of Miss Supranational and Miss Charm, having seen the coronation of the Filipino queens relegated to an after-show off-camera ceremony. The pageant itself is in the rearview mirror, so I'm opting to focus now on some nerdy facts about Michelle's win and what record setting she could achieve in El Salvador. Let's have a look. By winning Miss Universe 2023, Michelle Dee becomes just the second woman to earn the right to represent the Philippines at both alpha pageants, Miss World and Miss Universe. I'm going to assume the vast majority of you know who the first one was. Catriona, obviously, who converted a top 5 finish at Miss World 2016 into a Miss Universe crown 2 years later. Globally, there are countless women who've represented their country at both alphas. Nations like France, Russia and South Africa have at one time or another sent the same national winner to both Miss World and Miss Universe, though in recent years that's been impossible due to the close proximity of both pageants on the calendar. But this has never happened in the Philippines, and up until 2011, the same pageant, Binibining Pilipinas, selected different women to compete at Miss World and Miss Universe, as well as Miss International and other minor pageants. Furthermore, once a Binibini becomes a title holder, they were prevented from competing again, unlike the runners-up who could. So, it was quite fortuitous for Catriona that Binibining Pilipinas lost the Miss World franchise in 2011, which allowed her to compete at both alphas, albeit in different calendar years. The change in franchise holder seemed to be a lucky move all round, because the Philippines placed first runner-up that first year of change in 2011, and won the crown just 2 years later thanks to Megan Young. One thing I'm not clear on is whether the likes of Pauline and Krishna can compete again for the top crown next year. And hypothetically, if Michelle had won Miss Supranational Philippines last year and competed internationally, would she have been permitted to compete again this year? If you know the rules, leave them in the comments below. Anyway, back to actual pageant results, and Michelle's recent win follows her victory at Miss World Philippines 2019 in a field that included eventual Miss World Philippines 2021, Tracy Perez, and Miss Universe Philippines 2020 fourth runner-up, Billy Harkinson. Michelle, the daughter of Miss International 1979 Melanie Marquez, travelled to London for Miss World 2019, earning a place in the top 40 via the head-to-head challenge and eventually placing in the top 12. Michelle's Miss World 2019 sister and fellow top 12er Alina Sanko of Russia was unplaced at Miss Universe 2020. Trinidad and Tobago's Tarjaneh Raimi, who made top 40 at Miss World 2019, placed top 16 at Miss Universe 2022. So Michelle has joined Catriona as one of only 2 double alpha Filipinas. But will she follow in Catriona's footsteps on the Miss Universe stage? Let's see what's at stake for Michelle in El Salvador. Actually, before we do, just a quick request to like this video if you're enjoying it, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And if you're in a position to do so, hitting the thanks button is very much appreciated. Alright, back to it. The pressure will certainly be on Michelle Dee to, at the very least, return the Philippines to the semi-finals after last year's shock result. Prior to Celeste Cortese, the last non-placement of a Filipina at Miss Universe was Bianca Manalo in 2009, the 10th consecutive non-placement for the Philippines. Should Michelle avoid another unfortunate streak and make the semis, all hopes and dreams of her supporters will automatically leap to her winning the Philippines' 5th Miss Universe title. Should this dream come true, Michelle would become the 7th woman in history to win Miss Universe after competing in Miss World. On screen are the 6 women who've achieved the feat thus far, and here are their Miss World results. As you can see, 3 out of the 6 Miss Universes went unplaced at Miss World: Georgina Risk, Angela Visser, and Umpule Kwelahobe. The other 3 placed. Michelle McLean and Catriona Gray both made top 5 in 1991 and 2016 respectively, while the most recent crossover queen, Andrea Meza of Mexico, became the first woman ever to finish first runner-up at Miss World before going on to win Miss Universe. It's happened 3 times the other way: Miss Universe first runners-up going on to win Miss World. Click the link in the corner for more on that. They're 3 of the 8 women who've crossed over from Miss Universe to win Miss World. If we're looking at other recent Miss World crossover queens who fell short of winning Miss Universe, we've got Julia Gama of Brazil, top 11 at Miss World 2014 and first runner-up at Miss Universe 2020. In the Miss World 2018 class, Belgium's Angeline Fleur-Poix made the top 30 but failed to place at Miss Universe 2019. Solares Barba of Panama reached the top 12 at Miss World but likewise went unplaced at Miss Universe in 2022. But most startling of all was Miss World 2018 first runner-up, Thailand's Nicoline Limsnukan, who missed out on her national title, finishing first runner-up again at Miss Universe Thailand last year. And in a mirror image of Michelle Dee's fortunes at Miss Universe Philippines last year, the woman who beat Nicoline for the national title in Thailand, Ana Suingam Iam, also went unplaced at Miss Universe 2022, just like Celeste Cortesi. Speaking of Michelle's fortunes, here's a quick and early assessment of her chances at Miss Universe 2023. In short, is she enough of a transformational leader to take the crown? Okay, I'm going to cut right to the chase on this one. I've got concerns. Something I didn't get a strong sense of from any of the eventual title holders at Miss Universe Philippines was their leadership potential. Now, there hasn't been a whole lot of time since last year's Miss Universe, after which National Director Shamsi Supsup Lee admitted she and her team would need to recalibrate their strategy after new Miss Universe organisation owner Kun An made it clear Miss Universe must be a transformational leader. If we look at Michelle's court, starting with Krishna, we see she's an advocate for youth empowerment through the charity Colour the World with Kindness, whose Instagram account first posted in January and has just over 500 followers. Pauline Amelinx is an incredible speaker who's been involved with another youth empowerment group, Junior Chamber International or JCI Philippines, since 2017. But when she applied for Miss Universe Philippines 2023, she admitted her leadership skills are only starting to develop, having been elected president of her local JCI chapter in the past year. Likewise, Michelle has supported her main advocacy, autism awareness, for some time and spoke about it at length during Miss World 2019. However, scrolling through her social media, I see only the odd mention of activity in this area. As a model and actress, I feel Michelle is going to have to work extra hard to prove she's a beauty queen with substance and a purpose. Supporting a charity is one thing, but being a leading figure in a movement is another. That's why Arbany Gabriel won Miss Universe last year. She demonstrated legitimate and widespread impact with her efforts through her eco-friendly clothing line, Arbany Nola Design, and teaching important life skills to female victims of domestic violence and human trafficking through the non-profit design house Magpies and Peacocks. If the Philippines wants to reclaim the Miss Universe crown, it only has to look back 5 years to the last Filipina to wear it. Catriona Gray was a transformational leader before the term was regularly uttered in the pageant world. Having two brothers with autism, it's clear the cause is very close to Michelle's heart, and it's encouraging to see the work she's done in recent days to raise awareness. It'll be critical for her chances of taking the crown that she steps up and amplifies these efforts, making the most of the next 6 months on the road to El Salvador. Alright, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back again soon, but in the meantime, it's goodbye from me, the Pageant Nerd.